Welcome to Bipolar Talks, where we explore the real stories, science, and experiences behind bipolar disorder, mindfully and honestly. Before we dive in, please take a moment to like, comment, subscribe, and share this podcast with someone who might need it. These small actions help us continue creating safe spaces for mental health conversations. Let's grow this community together, mindfully. Today's episode is a deep dive into a fascinating and sometimes misunderstood topic: seasonal bipolar episodes. Fact or myth? Have you ever noticed your mood shifts with the seasons? Do the shorter days of winter seem to bring on depression, while spring or summer sparks a surge of energy, or even mania? This pattern is so common that many people with bipolar disorder wonder, is my illness seasonal? Or is that just a myth? Let's unpack the science, the stories, and the possibilities behind this question, mindfully and thoroughly. First, let's get clear on what seasonality means in the world of mental health. When people talk about seasonal mood changes, they often think of seasonal affective disorder, or SAD. This is a form of depression that's tied to changes in seasons, most commonly appearing in fall and winter, and improving in spring. But what about bipolar disorder? Can someone with bipolar disorder experience seasonal patterns too? The short answer is, yes, it's possible. But as always, the real story is more nuanced. So what does the science say? Research into seasonal patterns in bipolar disorder has revealed some fascinating, and sometimes contradictory, findings. A 2000 study published in the Journal of Affective Disorders found that 20 to 25% of people with bipolar disorder report seasonal patterns in their episodes. That's a significant number, but not the majority. In particular, depressive episodes are more common in fall and winter. Manic or hypomanic episodes are more likely to happen in spring and early summer. Why is that? Let's pause here to explore some possible biological explanations. One of the strongest theories behind seasonal patterns in bipolar disorder involves light exposure and circadian rhythms, our body's internal clock. As the days get shorter in winter, there's less natural light. This can impact melatonin production, serotonin levels, and sleep cycles, all of which are deeply involved in mood regulation. For people with bipolar disorder, disruptions in circadian rhythms are already a vulnerability. Add in the seasonal changes in light, and you might just tip the brain toward depression or mania. But here's the tricky part. Not everyone with bipolar responds the same way. Some people become deeply depressed during winter, struggling to get out of bed, craving carbs, withdrawing socially. Others may notice that with the burst of sunlight in spring, their sleep decreases, their thoughts race, and mania creeps in. But is it the season? Or the life circumstances that happen to line up with the season? That's the question researchers continue to explore. Let's step out of the lab and into real life. Many people with bipolar disorder have shared stories like this. Every year around October, I feel myself slipping. My energy fades. By December, I'm crying constantly and barely functioning. But once the sun comes back in March, I'm suddenly inspired and can't stop writing. Or, summer is always risky for me. I start feeling invincible, barely sleep, and take on projects I can't possibly manage. These patterns repeat year after year. Not always with clockwork precision, but enough that some people can predict the mood forecast along with the weather. That doesn't mean everyone with bipolar has seasonal shifts. Some have irregular, unpredictable episodes. But for those who do notice seasonal patterns, it can be empowering to plan around them. Do you recognize any seasonal patterns in your own life? Now let's zoom out and bust a few myths. Myth 1. Everyone with bipolar has seasonal episodes. False. Many people experience episodes unrelated to the seasons. Triggers can be emotional, psychological, hormonal, or completely mysterious. Myth 2. Seasonal patterns are always obvious. Not necessarily. For some, the changes are subtle. You might not notice the link until you track your moods over several years. Myth 3. If your symptoms change with the weather, it must be SAD, not bipolar. Not true. People with bipolar disorder can absolutely have seasonal triggers, but their mood changes still follow bipolar patterns, depression, mania, or hypomania, not just unipolar depression. This brings us to an important point. Comorbidity. Some people have both bipolar disorder and seasonal affective disorder. That's right, it's possible to live with both. And that can make treatment a little more complex. So how do mental health professionals tell if a bipolar disorder is seasonal? The DSM-5, the diagnostic manual, includes something called a seasonal pattern specifier. This can be added to a bipolar diagnosis if there's a consistent pattern for at least 2 years. The episodes occur at the same time of year, for example, always in winter. There are no episodes during the rest of the year. But remember, a specifier is just that, a specifier. It doesn't change the core diagnosis, but it helps clinicians tailor treatment. So let's talk about treatment next. If you or someone you love experiences seasonal bipolar patterns, there are proactive steps you can take. 1. Mood tracking. Keeping a mood journal or using an app can help detect patterns over time. Is your depression creeping in every November? Are you flying high in May? 2. Light therapy. Bright light therapy is commonly used for SAD and has shown promise for bipolar depression too. But caution is key. For people with bipolar, light therapy can sometimes trigger mania. Always use it under medical supervision. 3. Medication adjustments. Some psychiatrists may recommend seasonal dosage changes in mood stabilizers or antidepressants. For example, slightly increasing a mood stabilizer heading into spring if mania tends to hit then. 4. Sleep hygiene. Circadian rhythms matter. Prioritize regular sleep and wake times, even when the seasons tempt you otherwise. 5. Lifestyle structure. Build structure into your life around vulnerable seasons. This might mean scaling back during winter or scheduling extra therapy sessions before spring. 6. Vitamin D. Low vitamin D levels, especially during winter, have been linked to mood disorders. Supplements might help. Again, talk to your doctor. Understanding your own bipolar patterns is one of the most empowering things you can do. If you know that depression hits every January, you can prepare for it. You can lean into routines, ask for help, and have your treatment plan ready. If you sense that mania creeps in every June, you can alert your support system, sleep more, and maybe avoid taking on that extra job or late-night project. Seasonal awareness isn't just about avoiding the bad, it's also about harnessing the good. Maybe you feel you're most creative in early autumn. Maybe winter forces you to slow down and reflect. Bipolar doesn't have to be chaos. Patterns, when understood, can become roadmaps. Of course, not everything fits neatly into boxes. Some years break the mold. You might go years without seasonal patterns, then suddenly they appear. Or they might fade over time. Other factors, like trauma, life stress, childbirth, or medication changes, can override seasonal influences altogether. And don't forget geography. Someone in sunny Brazil may have a totally different experience from someone in cloudy Sweden. In short, seasonal bipolar episodes are real for some people, but not universal. So let's return to the question. Seasonal bipolar episodes, fact or myth? The answer is both. For some people it's a fact. A real observable cyclical pattern tied to the seasons. For others it's a myth, or at least an oversimplification. And for many it lies somewhere in between. The key takeaway? Your experience is valid. Your rhythms are worth listening to. And your treatment plan should be as unique as your seasons. Thanks for joining us here on Bipolar Talks for this mindful deep dive. If this episode resonated with you, or helped you better understand your own seasonal patterns, please like, comment, subscribe, and share. Let's keep this conversation going and build a world where mental health is talked about mindfully, openly, and with care. And as always, this YouTube video is for informational purposes only. It's not a substitute for medical advice. Please consult a qualified mental health professional to discuss your specific needs. Take care, stay mindful, and we'll see you in the next episode of Bipolar Talks.